I am live. Welcome, welcome Periscope, welcome Play viewers. Welcome. Thank you for joining my scope. Thank you, Tommy Thomas. Thank you for joining my scope. Is this my nephew? Is this my nephew, Fat? Welcome, Jay Lee. Thank you for joining my scope. I'm going to scope on project management tonight. As usual, heart it up for me, heart it up. Share this with your viewers, with your followers. Swipe up for Android users and hit share and follow on Twitter, or post the link into your Facebook page. Also, if you're on Android, swipe to the left or swipe to the right and invite your followers and heart it up for me. Thank you for joining, Altovis. Thank you. I am very excited. This is actually my second scope tonight, and I wanted to continue because the other one I did so quickly, and I'm being told that I'm giving so much information so fast, so it's getting somewhat overwhelming. So I want you all to take notes. And I want you to write down some of the things that I'm telling you, because it's not only for project managers or PMPs, but anyone that manages an endeavor or an idea. Anybody that manages this can actually benefit from it. So I'm going to talk about conflict management tonight. I actually took some notes. Hello, thank you for joining my scope, Mr. Hadley. Go ahead and invite your followers. Heart it up for me, heart it up, and even my replay viewers. You could also hit the hearts and tap the hearts. All right. So what I want to talk about tonight is conflict management techniques and tools that you could use to deal with conflicts, to deal with strife, to deal with frustrations among people who are on a team that you're working with. As a leader and as a manager, you need to be able to manage conflicts when they are taking place. In the last scope, I talked about anticipating needs. So as you anticipate these needs, you could tell when there's some, when the atmosphere has shifted, when there's some negative tension among people that are on your project team, or not necessarily a problem with people, but just a conflict with getting things done. Okay? Yes, I did. You know, we have those nicknames in our family. We all have those family members, and we have nicknames. I'm like one of 16. I was adopted into a wonderful family. I have a great relationship with my biological mother. I have a great relationship with my biological father, and I have a great relationship with the family that adopted me. So I have over 16 siblings, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, in family. So all of that's a project for me. So don't be surprised if you hear me start saying stuff like huckabuck and stuff like that. We have these wonderful nicknames for people in our family. All right. But welcome. My name is Magaline Harvey. I'm known as the Project Management Queen. So you can call me Project Queen Magaline. I turn out pimps, people who get their PMP certification after taking a project management course with me. And thank you for inviting your followers. And I'm very, very passionate about ensuring that people understand what needs to be done in order to take and pass the PMP exam. I'm huge on certification because certification shows that you're serious about the profession and that you want to have that like language or that like mind. The PMP certification is equivalent to a master's degree. Okay. The good thing about the PMP certification is you really don't have to have a college degree to go for it. But if you have worked in project management, you've managed projects, or you have contributed to, love you too, Tommy. Look, it's hard to call you Tommy. Love you too, man. Love you too. But you do not have to have a college degree to be a project manager. And the salary ranges for project managers ranges basically from $55,000 to $200,000, $300,000 a year in terms of salary. It depends if you are a consultant, if you own your own company, or you're working with the company that does project management. Project management spans all industries. So there's not project management for just one particular industry. It's very huge in construction. It's huge in government now. Actually, government is embracing it, and they're requiring that people get their PMP certification. So if you're interested in being certified as a project manager, I'm definitely here to help you. If you're interested in learning about project management or how to get into project management, basically from where you are to where you're going, I'm very excited about some products that I'm creating to help with that. We're going to start hosting a series of conference calls. I have conference calls for the project management courses as well. Thank you for inviting your followers, Tommy. And I have conference calls set up for people who are asking about or inquiring about answering test questions, like how do you dissect these test questions. So we do test question dissection or conjugation. If you remember when we were in school, you in an English class, you had to actually take a sentence and conjugate it. Well, I do that same thing with the PMP test questions to help people take and pass that test. So thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And thank you for the hearts. I love hearts. I love different color hearts. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So now to get into the meat of what I'm talking about, conflict management techniques. So when there's a conflict, what are the different types? So a project manager first must understand what are the different types of conflicts that a project manager will run into. All right, the first type of conflict we'll say conflict management technique, meaning if there's a conflict that's happening, what are the most successful tools or techniques that you can use as a project manager to resolve the conflict? All right. And the first type of conflict management technique is the best according to PMI, and is actually the best to get the problem solved. It's the problem solving approach called collaboration and confrontation. A lot of people are afraid of confrontation. Confrontation is not a negative thing. I'm going to do a totally separate scope on just confrontation. What's effective confrontation techniques? But confrontation is not a negative thing because you should be dealing with the problem. And if you could figure out why the problem is there, what specifically caused the problem, or what is the specific element that the problem is about, you could actually problem solve it. You cannot to resolve that problem. Welcome, Robin RMC. Thank you for joining my scope. I'm doing a scope today. I'll do a real quick review. My application wise, I also teach on PMP certification, and that's for professional project managers. I teach on Agile Scrum, Prince 2, ITIL, Six Sigma, and business analysis. So I am just full of not only certification but applied knowledge as a business consultant and as a project manager for over 15 years. All right, so what I'm talking about today in the scope is conflict management technique. Technique that I brought up was about collaboration, problem solving, and confronting a problem. Welcome, Wendy Lynette. Thank you for joining my scope. I'm doing a scope on conflict management techniques, and I'm still on number 1, so you're on time. I want you to get paper and pen and start writing down notes, and I definitely want you to start tapping the screen for hearts. For Android, swipe left and right for iPhones. So you can start inviting your followers, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Yes. So thank you for joining. All right. So number 1, again, conflict management techniques is to problem solve, confront, or collaborate. And those words are kind of sort of used interchangeably, but they all three mean the same thing. So if you know what the conflict is about and trying to get them to get quiet. And they're fighting, fussing, fighting. And then they run in a room while mom is on a very important conference call. And they come in with the orange. The brother has the orange holding up in the air. The little sister's jumping up trying to grab the orange. The problem did not get solved. Why? What happened? The mom did not find out the what nor the why the conflict was there. Is to know what the problem is about and why it's there. So here's the story. The real issue was the daughter wanted to eat the orange and she wanted the slices, the little peel, peel it in the slices. The brother was doing a science project and it was the last orange. So he was trying to cut it in a circle because he needed it to remain a circle, and the little sister was not patient. And he kept saying, wait, and she was very impatient. So when the mom cut it in half, she ruined the last piece of thing that he had to do his project. All right, so figure out the what and the why. Welcome back. Not sure what's happening. I guess the internet connection is slow and it's kind of booting people out, but this is some good information. So hopefully the replay will capture the details that I'm giving. All right, the second conflict management technique. Go ahead and push 2. Type 2 in the chat. Type 2 in the chat. The second conflict management technique is to force. You have to force people to do the thing that needs to be done. Sometimes you have to say, okay, this person is the expert. This is how it needs to be done. This is when it needs to be done. Get her done. Sometimes you have to do that as a project manager. And that's what we call the force approach. Welcome back. Share with your followers. Heart it up for me. And I would like for you conflict management. I would love after the conflict has been resolved and after we've moved forward with the work. That is to make sure you maintain a relationship, and then that you show the person sometimes people need to be pushed, and so that you show them that you actually care about them, and this is why you force them to do things that way. Sometimes we have to do that as parents with our teenagers. Sometimes we have to push and force them to do things even though they may not feel comfortable. Kids don't really know how when you in a project management world, we call that lose-lose because of the give up. But usually that's used when you have different levels of authority. You have someone with legitimate power or legitimate authority, and then you have the person that is a subordinate, or they have what we call expert power. So legitimate power is a power people have because of their job title and their position. That is a great form of power in terms of respect, but it doesn't make the person an expert. So sometimes as a project manager, when you're dealing with strong leaders and you're dealing with someone in leadership that have no clue, no idea what it takes for you to do what you do and how to do it, sometimes you have to give up your thoughts, your way of doing it, not 100%, but you do some bargaining and you do some reasoning and some negotiating so that they could kind of build trust. So usually there's not a trust relationship there, and we want to build trust. And in building trust, we do a compromise. The other conflict management technique is smoothing. Smoothing, here in smoothing, this is when you have a high regard for the relationship between the individuals and a low regard for your personal goals or your personal feelings. Okay, this could happen in a mentor-mentee relationship. You have a high respect for your mentor, so you probably wouldn't tell them their breath stinks. You have a high respect for someone that's famous or infamous, and you wouldn't tell them anything negative. You have a high respect for your boss or for your manager, so you just give up the fact that there's something there that you're bothered by and just agree to keep working. This is also a great conflict management technique that a project manager can use when you walk in on team members who are in conflict, and you go, hey, can we agree that you are here? Can we agree that you are capable? Okay, let's get back to work. Now, here's the thing with smoothing. I have no idea what the conflict was about. So the conflict still remains. Some people call this in regular language sweeping it under the rug. Okay? The other conflict management technique is avoidance, pretending that it didn't happen, pretending that it's not there. As a project manager, thank you for joining Big 2181. You do not want to avoid conflict. Avoiding conflict is not conflict management is to do nothing about the issue. And we are not supposed to avoid conflicts at all as a project manager, as a manager, as a leader. All right. So these are great leadership skills. And I'll do a quick recap since I had someone just rejoin. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. And that is collaborate. That is problem solve or confront. Same thing. Thank you for sharing on Twitter. And number 2 is to force. This is when you have the authority, you got to get things resolved quickly. You have to force, push, basically. Doesn't matter what people think. Conflict management technique is to compromise. When people compromise, it's not necessarily a bad thing. We just collaborate and we negotiate. I give up something and I get them to give up something so we can actually resolve the conflict. Then we have smoothing. Smoothing is when a problem remains, but I just agree to do something different. And then avoid is just to ignore the fact that there's a conflict and do nothing about it.